Okay, now once again coming back to Cybersecurity Engineering Process Group, SEC. Can any of you tell me what could be the possible improvements here when you see only 4 processes? Because see, whenever we talk about a V model, there are different abstraction levels, right? However, if you see the Cybersecurity Engineering Process Group, it talks about, one process is about the requirement elicitation and one is about the implementation. And then once again, there comes a question whenever somebody wants to, use this in their active, project. When you see an, real project, there are different abstraction levels. You have to derive the requirement in different levels, system, software, hardware, and so on. But that is not well described in the cybersecurity related standard. So what do you guys think could be the challenge when somebody wants to, apply these processes in their, real project or in their ongoing projects?
So, if I have to jump in and start, first thing I would like to probably point out, or maybe I would like to see as an improvement, is we are talking about cybersecurity requirement elicitation in SEC 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we are talking about cybersecurity, it can be at the software level, it can be at the hardware level too. So, this is something which is not clearly defined. I would definitely like to see something more with respect to hardware. So, let's say I have my cybersecurity mechanisms on my hardware, HSM, some crypto algorithms runs on my different hardware module.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do with that? Does the standard already provide me sufficient details, uh, provided the fact that there is no hardware related process already defined in the ASPICE model? So this is something that I would definitely like to see, the relation between SEC1 to SWE, and probably I think in future ASPICE 4.0 hardware related processor also getting added, maybe something on those lines, or probably bifurcate. Because if let's say I have a supplier, separate supplier for hardware, separate supplier for software, how do I define the SEC1 into two different groups?
Mm.
So this is
Exactly.
something I would.
Yeah. I think that's also my understanding is because currently it talks about requirement elicitation in general. It doesn't let's say differentiate between deriving at the system level, deriving at the software and the hardware level. Because see, we are normally used to see different chapters in functional safety. There you go to software, then you go to hardware. You start from the system, and before that you start from the concept level. So it is not that well described. So in my opinion, that is also something organization need to take care of when they want to define their processes in compliance to this particular additional processes. Because if they look at sec1 and try to write down their organization process, it's not going to be that easy. Rather, they have to elaborate a bit more. They have to tell in the system level, how do we derive the requirements? What is my input? What is my output? In the software level, how do I derive cybersecurity requirements? What is my input? What is my output? So they have to go bit into the abstraction level. So this is currently, I mean, this the challenge is that it is not well described. Is also the same case with ISO SA 21434. If you guys have gone through that, that also doesn't go in detail to system, software, or software hardware, this abstraction level. Rather, it more talks at the element or a component. I cannot recall what was the word which is used. And
Technical
normally,
element.
yeah, somebody who is working on the on it has to apply this element to think, okay, it's a software element, this is the hardware element, and they have to apply it. On the other hand, standards always say we only describe what to do, not how to do. So that is also another thing, so that they don't be too specific. When the standard, then it is not a standard, right? If it becomes too specific, it is not a standard. So they try to keep it generic, and they would let the user decide how to apply. Rather, they only talk about what should be achieved, not the how part. So yeah, that is also one thing.
So, if I understand correctly, for example, if we talk about SEC1,
Mhm.
so generally we have different tiers, right? Like system, someone is developing system, someone is
Mhm.
developing software, and so on. Someone is
Mm.
developing hardware. That means, I mean, if my complete project is divided into different tiers who are developing these different things, then everyone has to follow SEC1, or maybe implement SEC1, assess,
Mm.
and so on. Then everyone has to do that. Is it correct?
Exactly, exactly. Which means if at all I have a software supplier, let's imagine I am a system, tier one, and I will hand over complete software development, which is cybersecurity critical, to one of the supplier, and I would expect that supplier does the assessment on his own and gives me the assessment result. Then normally the expectation is also that supplier shows the compliance to SEC 1. But the thing is, what is in scope for the supplier? Only the software part, not the system or not the hardware if they don't do the hardware. So they have to, define their scope or the boundary in that case. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know whether to call it as a challenge or that's how it is, the thing with the standards. But looking at how descriptive the functional safety standard is, I'm expecting that even ISO SA 21434 will also be detailed out in the coming years. That's my feeling. Which is also the case with the SEC 3, because see, now risk treatment verification. What is it? What is it covering? Yeah, exactly. So it is actually covering everything, right? It is covering your SW4 to SW6. It is covering
Also
SIS4 and
SIS4 and
SIS5.
5.
And also hardware and mechanical testing also. Okay, I don't know in the mechanical part how much of a cybersecurity comes into play, but in the hardware definitely. But again, when a supplier has to apply this standard, then they also have to think about it, about those parts. So that is something what somebody who is using the standard should also know about.